What's up, guys? I'm back. I will be making more of these. I know well, summer's kind of dead. We had the Olympics. I should have done something around the Olympics. We do have Junior Worlds coming up, so maybe I'll do something after that. But in my opinion, this is a really big story. Other people are kind of trying to downplay it. Christian at Flow is saying it's only because it's Iowa. But let me explain to you guys how I feel about it. You know what's so fun about this video now is I'm free. So when I was at Flow, I said everything I thought, but sometimes I held back. And you know why I held back? I held back because you guys are whiners. Because you would call Christian and make his life difficult. Because if you called me, I would have told you to get lost. You're a loser. Like, stop wasting my time. I would not answer your call. And I'm not just talking about fans. And to my knowledge, it wasn't coaches, but very important people surrounding programs would call him. One time, I even got threatened with a lawsuit. And I said, sue me. You're going to lose very, very badly by an important father. He said, I was being too mean. I was going to hurt his son's future prospects. I said, sue me, bro. Like, you're going to lose so badly. You're going to get embarrassed. So, with this, no one can call my boss. Well, because I don't have a boss. You can call Max and whine at him, and then Max will probably laugh at you also. That's about it. What else are you going to do to me? Right? If you don't like this, don't watch. That's it. So let's talk about Iowa. Everyone says I'm a hater and I'm biased, and I actually think it's the opposite. I think most of you Iowa fans are wearing rose-colored glasses, and this is true with all teams because I've been said to be mean about other teams also. So I think this is true of most teams. The Iowa, I think maybe more than others, and it's because say for example, like for the last decade, I'll say Iowa doesn't really develop wrestlers all that well, or they're not really that aggressive, or they don't perform well at NCAAs. All of those things can be factually proven. And while you may feel, no, you're wrong, I'm not. I'm really not wrong. I can factually prove all of those statements. Now, Iowa wrestling has obviously still been good because they have this tradition and they generally get a lot of really good recruits, and there's something really cool about wrestling, Carver Hawkeye. And you know what? Tom and Terry, they're good enough coaches. Maybe not great, but good enough. They do a good job. But you Iowa fans, you're wearing rose-colored glasses. So when I say something, I'm not being a hater. I am being real with you. If I have a bias, I'll disclose it. I'm biased towards Mizzou. I know I think more favorably about them. I'm biased towards the AWA guys I coached. I'm think more favorably about them. Yes, I do have biases. We all do. But in a lot of cases, I'm just speaking the truth. And you are the one with the rose-colored glasses, and you're sad. You're mad because of the things I'm saying. So let's talk about what happened in Iowa. Iowa brought in 3 really big-time guys: Kyle Parker, Ja'Cory Teamer, Stephen Buchanan. I can't prove any of this, but it's been said that a couple of those guys got $500,000. I don't know. I'm guessing that's embellished, but I would guess they got a nice chunk of change to leave the situation they were in to go to this new situation. This has been a mainstay for Iowa. We did it with Franek and Caliendo and Real Woods. I'm sure there's someone I'm forgetting. They're obviously not the only team that has done this. Michigan did this. Oklahoma State has done this. But David Taylor, I'm going to give him a pass because he's a new coach, right? So when you're a new coach, there's new circumstances, and so obviously people are going to go, "Oh, I'll go there." It's a new circumstance, right? Penn State has done this, most notably last year. Although I think they're like it's an average per year would be relatively low. So they got Mitchell, they got Bernie, and they got Nagao. But I think their average per year would be relatively low compared to certain other programs that I maybe mentioned. Actually, I'm going to tell you one coach who's cool. Sean Barnett from Michigan. He's cool. Because I've always liked Sean. And I went up to him and said, "Hey, Sean, I hope you're not mad at me for the nickname I gave you guys on FRL." He said, "Ha, what is it?" So, first of all, he didn't even watch. Great, right? If you're a head coach, that's probably what you should do with media is, just ignore it and do your job. I mean, I know that's what I do with a lot of the media that's directed towards me is I just ignore it. I do my job. And he said, "Well, what do you call us?" I said, "It's the Michigan Mercenaries." He goes, "Ha, it's a good name." It's a great name. And you know what? He laughed about it exactly what he should have done. He said, "Hey, I had the opportunity to go pick up some guys who are graduate students. I don't think we'll be able to do it in the future." And so, of course, I took advantage of it. I said, "Listen, that's a great and honest answer. You got to love it, right?" Okay, so Iowa has been, I'll say, the main program picking guys up. I think if you did an average per year, they would be the main team. And then we've obviously heard them making offers to other people as well that maybe did not come to fruition. Okay, so what just happened this week? Because we knew Buchanan was headed there, we knew Parker was headed there. The new addition was Teamer. Teamer's not on the roster, but he's in the student directory. So we're just going to assume he is at school there. Will be added to the roster shortly. Well, they had 5 guys leave in 3 days. Okay, so now everyone's saying, oh, they're not starters. It's not a big deal. And what I would say is, if it was 5 guys over the offseason, definitely not ideal, but understandable. But why are they leaving right now? School started at most places. I don't know about every single place, but Mizzou started 2 weeks ago. I think Wisconsin's a late start. They may start like Monday or Tuesday or whatever, right? Most schools have started. So you're talking 5 guys in the course of 3 days who are going to go to a new school when most schools have already started. That doesn't usually happen. It really doesn't. Now, 4 of those guys have been starters at some point, and 3 of those guys were NCAA qualifiers. So even if they were not going to be starters, these are not guys you want to lose off your bench, right? Because injuries happen, illnesses happen, someone gets ineligible, there's all these things that happen. Why would you want to lose these guys off your bench? I mean, let's go Zach Glazier, who they brought in Buchanan over when, in my opinion, Zach Glazier was one of their biggest overperformers last year. He gave Aaron Brooks his closest match. He was undefeated for a while. I don't know how he got. He was definitely in the top 10 at some point. He ended up not All-American, but like Buchanan is 100% the favorite against Zach Glazier. But are you telling me you can't see a circumstance on when Zach Glazier could beat Stephen Buchanan? Yeah, of course you could. And that's why, you see someone like Penn State keeps a lot of good guys around. They finally just lost Bear Claw, which, good for him. He'd go back home to UVU, and they lost Michael Beard maybe. But the last thing you want is for these guys to start popping up on other people's roster, and then what if they spend $500,000 on Buchanan? And again, I think that number's embellished, but we'll say it's a good chunk of money. What if Glacier beats Buchanan? Now you look like an idiot. You spent all this money, and the guy you had already is beating the guy that you paid for. Okay, so I think something must have happened. So again, 5 guys, 3 days, right as school starting. Something must have happened. Some number got disclosed. Someone did something. Someone said something. I don't know. I'm not on the inside in Iowa. But to think that's a coincidence that 5 of the guys leave in 3 days when school started. Again, when school started. That's the craziest thing for me. Is like I honestly didn't even know. Didn't think these guys were in the portal, and I didn't even think the portal was open. So when these guys started leaving, I was like, oh, can they even do that? And okay, so let's go further on to what does this do to the culture of your team? Because you're going to say, hey, they're just trying to get points in NCAAs. These guys, Teamer, Parco, and Buchanan alone, I don't know how many points they got last year, but it had to be a big number. I'd guess 40. 40, that's probably those 3 alone. That's good enough for, we'll say somewhere 10 to 15th place. Pretty good. So isn't NCAAs all about points? It's like, well, but you have to build your culture also. And this is one of those things where it's like, I don't even get it because, so like, there's a lot of youth traveling all-star teams in wrestling and do this, and they just pick up the best guy they can find and don't worry about who's in their club. But it's like, as a fan, like, were you cheering for Ja'Cory Teamer last year? It's like, no, you probably weren't, because, he actually gasses out hard. He's a fantastic guy to watch, but not much of a gas tank. Gasses out super hard, which is the antithesis of Iowa style, apparently, because you guys are super aggressive, which I may or may not be able to disprove that notion. So it's like you were cheering against this guy, and now this guy wears black and gold, and like, ooh, let's cheer for Ja'Cory Teamer. It's like how that sounds pathetic. Part of the good thing about college athletic, even if we go to professional sports, do we really want to be cheering for a different guy every year? Like, no, you want to get. Ideally, someone comes on your team, you get to know them a little bit, you get to like them, maybe you see some interviews, you like their personality, you root for them because of their story or something to that effect, and then you get to watch this person, right? In college athletics, it would be over the course of 4 years. In professional athletics, it would be over the course of, I don't know, like Brett Favre was on the Packers for 20 years. People still hated him when he went, where the hell did he go? Vikings maybe, or somewhere, I don't know, he went somewhere else. People hated him for that, right? He was here for 20 years. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. So it's like, yeah, we want to get to know people. We want to get to like their story. We want to get to like them, and then ideally cheer for them. So when you're getting these mercenaries as seniors, it's like, well, y'all were cheering against Ja'Cory Teamer last year, and all of a sudden he's in black and gold. You're like, oh, we love this guy. So I just think it's bad from a culture perspective, and obviously 5 guys leaving it's very indicative of that. It's bad from a culture perspective. So I just don't see the point in spending all this money to take second place to Penn State again. It's like, get some guys out of high school, Bill, and they're home. There's another point. Don't worry. I'm going off on this one. You're going to spend all this money to lose to Penn State again, and they didn't pick up anyone this year. Did they? I don't think they did. Hopefully I'm not wrong. But it's like, now, if you're a high schooler, I'm going to advise you high schoolers real quick. If you want to go to Iowa, don't. Go somewhere else for a year. Do well, but this is I'm going to call it, this is something I did my whole life, guys. Bet on yourself. Go somewhere else for a year. Do really well, and then say, hey, give me the money. And then go to Iowa. Because look, then you get 3 years where you want to be. You get 3 years at Iowa because that was where you wanted to end up, but you just upped the price. Right? So you went somewhere else, you did well. Then you're going to go get a bump in your pay, and you're going to go to Iowa. Which this is where people said Drake Ayala is not getting as much. It's like, if I was Drake Ayala, you better be paying me whatever you're paying any of them, because I've been in Iowa for 3 years. I've been loyal. I've been working hard. I made the NCAA finals. You better give me at least what you're giving them. You should probably give me more. I've been here the whole time. I've been here since the beginning. I've been wearing the black and gold my whole life. You better give me at least what you're giving them. If you're giving them more than me, man, and I don't like comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy, but sometimes fair is fair. So if you're a high school kid, don't go to Iowa. Go somewhere else. Then go to Iowa once they're going to pay you, right? And then, again, this destroys the fabric of college athletics because, when I picked a college, it's like, where can I go somewhere for 5 years and enjoy myself and make good friends? Listen, I'm at my house right now. I'm having the Mizzou reunion later. I have 16 of my college teammates coming to my house this weekend. I'm freaking 17 years out of college because I made friends for life in college, and that's what you want. So when I went to Mizzou in 2002, I said, hey, this is a place where I can spend the next 5 years of my life, where I really like the teammates, where I'm going to get along with everybody. I mean, for me, that's part of the value of college athletics. When I sell it to high school athletes, say, if you're going to join a college team, you're going to have coaches looking out for you. You're going to have teammates looking out for you. And if you just go and don't do athletics, you're kind of on your own to make it, right? So, I mean, honestly, I think being surrounded by a team, and again, if we're bringing in people all over the place, that's kind of mercenaries, not team. But we want to be surrounded by a team, which is going to have a great culture, a great environment, and it's going to ideally, 17 years later, you're going to be having 16 of them over at your house because you made friends for life. That's what you want. So, all right. I made notes last night to make sure I hit all my points. Oh yeah, Iowa took 5th last year. And that was, they had Woods, Frantic, and Caliendo. I don't know how many points they got, but probably a lot. Without those three, oof, that would have been rough. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see if there's anything else. I would say, you gotta say transfers are the name of the game. I would say what I think the main point for transfers should be, would be number one, kid graduates college early. That school doesn't have the major he now wants to, or the graduate school he wants to go to, right? And someone may have went to college and changed what they wanted to do, right? So then they're at college, and then they graduate. They're going to grad school. They have 1 year of eligibility left, and right, at Ivies you can't even compete in grad school, so they would have to go somewhere, like I said, Jacob Cardenas, but they don't have what you want, so you go somewhere else to get the graduate degree you want. Great example. The other one would be, I think the recruiting process is broken, where you're making 16 through 18-year-old kids decide the next 5 years of their life on a 48-hour weekend. Like, that's a bad idea in my opinion. So there's going to be a lot of kids like a Mitchell Messenbrink who goes to where he committed to and he says, this isn't for me. This isn't what I expected. This isn't what I want. Something may have changed. The coaching changed. I'm different now. I'm going to go somewhere else. So for those reasons, transfers are great. But when you're relying that as the main point scoring mechanism for NCAAs, I think it's shallow. I think it's dumb. I think it's terrible for the culture of your team. And then when you're having 5 guys who've been with you for a relatively long time, I think, Glazier's been there 4 years, Seabricks for a long time, Bradley Hill maybe 2 years. Forgetting someone, who am I forgetting? Let me look through my notes. Aiden Riggins, right? When those guys have been there for a long time and now they're leaving, that hurts your culture. Because surely they've made a lot of friends on the team by that point. Okay, that's it. If you're mad about this video, go cry. Go cry. I don't give a damn. You can't call Christian Piles and whine and say, oh, Ben's being mean, take him off flow. Because this is my own channel, so you can kiss my butt. Have a great day.